Hi, my name is Randall Chongson, and we're gonna do a very good conversation interview about something that we need to talk about more often, and that is insurance. And with me is Mars Dailo, no, the Senior Vice President for Ethica. No, it's relatively a newcomer, a new player for the Philippine market. But again, let's talk about what he does in Ethica and maybe talk a little bit about Ethica. So, hi Mars, welcome to
Hi,
the.
Randall. Hi, Randall. And I don't know if it's a good evening or a good afternoon. And hi to all your viewers. No? So I'm Mars. I'm with Ethica Philippines. No, you were mentioning it's a new player. It is actually Ethica as a brand is actually a new player in the country. We what they did was, but as a company itself, it's been there for quite some time, but we focus on a certain segment of the market. So Ethica is actually from Malaysia. It is
Okay.
part of the Maybank group. So they have an insurance company there, and part of their expansion in Southeast Asia is to buy that insurance company here in the Philippines and named it Ethica Philippines.
Okay. So Mars, a little bit of siguro, I'm just curious lang, ano. I mean, with all the players here, insurance and everything, why is the Philippines why are we part? I mean, bakit pa nagpunta sa Philippines? Is it gonna be
Okay.
a business here or may opportunity?
Yeah.
You see
Very,
opportunity?
very, very good question. Very good question. At the end of the day, alam naman natin lahat that, in terms of penetration, ang layo, napakaliit natin as a country. So that's an opportunity, I guess, that Ethica Malaysia saw, given that, we're what, 100, over 100 million strong. No?
Mm.
And they feel that as a company, since kasi as a company, we started with group insurance. So
Mm.
that retail space of the company is something that it's a good opportunity to be able to help. No, when I say help, alam mo, as a company, we have this, we call it agility pledge. No, and the first line of that agility pledge is we want to make the Philippines a better place.
Okay.
So we feel that as part of our advocacy, that through insurance, we'd be able to, do our share or contribute to making the Philippines a better place by, providing insurances in both general insurance and and life insurance. So that's the idea there. So number one, it's penetration. Number two is the products it offers. Kasi
Okay.
composite license si Ethica.
Okay. So Mars, let's talk about that. No, I mean, you're here, you're trying to build the business for Ethica for Maybank. But what do you think is the problem? I think you've been in the industry long enough to see
Yeah.
trends, some changes, and despite this, I mean, our economy has grown. I mean, from the 80s to the 90s to the 2000s, it's grown. More people are more aware. Information is readily available, and yet our insurance penetration has not really improved. I mean, maybe it did, but not really significantly. What do you think is the problem?
Uh, What one, it's still we go back to the basics of education.
Hmm.
I think we still tayong insurers, even as practitioners in the insurance industry, before selling, I think we first have to educate the market. I think that's
Mm.
the big aspect. Now, what am I saying about? I've talked to countless clients, and I always see mismatches between uh what they really need, given their family size, given the requirements of the family, even their assets and the products that they're buying.
Okay.
Di ba? Parang I think there's always a mismatch. And then, sometimes remember I talked about, I'm handling bank assurance. And one of the things I always ask is, ba't ka bumili?
Mm-hmm.
And the common answer, this is both, this is on the banking side and even the general insurance side or yung agency side. If you could ask a client, the common answer is, kasi kinonbinse ko nung branch manager ko, nung agent ko, o kasi tinulungan ko siya eh. So we're still in that mode. We're still in
Mm-hmm.
that mode of buying because somebody else is pestering me or somebody else is making kulit. I think we need to be able to empower, people by educating them. Like what you're doing, Randall. I know that you've been doing a lot of sessions, etc. It's just that. So one is education. Number two is, I think we need to be able to make people appreciate the value of that education. tayong Pinoy kasi ano tayo, well, maybe I'm old school na malakas pa rin sa atin bahala na si Batman. Diba? So we only start learning, we only start, going into it if really if something happens or there's really a need. No? So to me, education is still that. Education. So that's why I like the idea of a lot of people doing their advocacies of educating people on financials or on financial literacy, etc. The thing about it is that whenever you talk of financial literacy, and if like say from the outside and I see that there's financial literacy program, etc., perception always kicks in. And
Hmm.
that perception is that these guys are going to sell me something. That's the first thing. I think that's the killer part. That's the killer part. So parang I think we need to be more creative in being able to touch people and making them realize that, hey, I'm not going to talk about, I'm not going to sell, I'm just going to educate you. Up to you now whether you want to move on or what, or take the next step forward. So that I think that's the key thing, education.
Marsh, let me just to follow up that. No, if you were given the free hand as to direct how to educate people, let's say you're given authority, maybe as an insurance commissioner or maybe even the president of the republic. No, how would you want education, financial education, at that to be done? I mean, what would you be your wish list?
That's a good question. That's a good question. One, start them off from school.
Hmm.
Alam mo yung insurance parang ano ata subject lang ata yan sa college na
Yeah,
nobody minds, eh, 'di ba? That's one. Number two,
baka elective po. Yeah.
baka elective pa, right? Number two, I don't know how, but uh, maybe part of the curriculum, part of the orientation sessions for employees, for instance, if that could be part of, if that could be inserted to orientation programs of employees, that's an area that I think
Hmm.
that we can
Hmm.
go into. And then, well, of course, hindi naman to parang Korea where there's military service or required military service, or you require them to attend sessions. But I guess those are the things, no? And then for maybe media can play a role. Media can play a role in terms of whether it's mainstream or the traditional media, where they can allot maybe what, I don't know, a few minutes
Yeah.
of airtime to be able to talk about securing your family. So more than insurance, it's essentially taking care of your family in the future, right?
Okay, so they say it's always takes two to tango. No? I mean, they guess the education side, the awareness side, maybe cultural also at the same time. But there's also the side of the insurance industry. No? So what do you think? You haven't been in the industry for many, many years. What do you think is siguro naman, what's lacking? Ano bang siguro hindi tamang ginagawa ng insurance industry? And that's why the penetration remains low, it's not just penetration, it's just like some people are averse, no? I mean, parang, uy, insurance yan, ba? Parang, wag na yan, no? Let's not talk about that. Parang, you can see that, no? Funny nga, when you do expos, no, pag may insurance booth, people avoid that, no? So, what do you think is something that can be done from the insurance side, in the industry side?
Okay, good question. If you look at the budgets of insurance
Hmm.
companies, I don't know how much budget do they allot for training.
Mm. Mm.
'Di ba? Parang if you look at, I'm sure if you look at the books, talagang heavy yan sa product, sa brand, sa campaigns, etc. And then what else? Maybe incentives, etc. But training, that's an area I think that we need to look into, really, developing people to be advocates of financial literacy more than sellers.
Mm.
Yeah, what I mean, di ba? So I think that's an area we should look into, yung
Okay,
how we
good.
allot our budgets.
So people who are watching this, maybe that's something can take a cue from, no? And we've been doing this for many decades, and again, the results has not been. It's improving. I mean, not saying it's not,
Well,
but
but it's not really lips and bounds. Kasi at the end of the day, I think, well, we'd rather sell than train. Parang ganun.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We'd rather sell than train, di ba? Parang, pero to me, selling is the here and now. And then what, you know what happens there is that I think over time, parang insurance has always been viewed as a spare tire.
Mm, mm,
Di ba? Parang, but it's not something that we look forward to. But the other area is also the offerings.
mm,
You know,
mm.
'di ba, the offerings. Parang nowadays, let's take the pandemic for instance, you know. Prior pandemic, talaga na mga industry was very infested.
Mhm.
Everybody is going to the VUL. So much so na
UL
nakalimutan
is the variable universal life.
viable
It's an
universal life.
investment.
Oh,
It's an insurance with an investment. Okay.
correct,
The
correct.
others, no? Okay.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So it's a combination basically of insurance and then you have investments, etc. So that's all good. That's all good. So but prior to that, you had the traditional insurances. Parang
Mm,
let me use this term, naiwan sa pansitan
mm.
yung ano, 'di ba, yung traditional and then people went into VUL. Kasi nga there's a promised return, 'di ba?
Mas
Parang
sexy eh.
mas sexy, 'di ba? Pero when pandemic happened, market crashed.
Mhm.
Market crash. Now, oh, what happened? So people held back, right? People held back. And the one selling also, excuse me for my term, nagtago sila kasi hahabulin sila ng kliyente
Mm,
nila eh.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Di ba? They don't know how to explain it, right? Di ba? Pero, see, that's an aspect. If you are really a good financial advisor, or if your advocacy is really to be able to spread that, financial literacy, now is a time when the market is down, you should be felt.
Mhm.
Now is the time that you should be giving advice. Even, let's face it, wala ka na magagawa sa merkado.
Yeah, yeah.
But, what you can do is give advice to your clients. Of
There
course,
might be even there might even be opportunities at this point, 'di ba? I mean,
correct, 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 correct. And let's face it, siguro trait nating mga Pinoy yun di ba? I think the industry in a way grew because of the basic trait of Filipinos being so accommodating, highly
mm.
relational, etc. Di ba? So fine. So parang, I mean, when the market is down and your client sees that you're still there, you're not running away, etc., etc. If this guy stuck with me in bad times, I'll be with him in good times. So I guess that's the idea. So going back to the offerings, what I see in the market nowadays is that even the insurers are going back to traditional policies with guaranteed returns.
Okay.
It's just that people want some level of comfort that what I lost in the pandemic will not happen this time. So a lot of companies are forced really to go into that space, and Ethica is one of those. In fact, we're coming up with a very good program for that where we guarantee returns. No? But more than that, I think as insurers, we have to think beyond returns. We have to go into more living benefits. Over the years, I've seen a lot of insurance programs that has medical reimbursement, and we all say, hey, it's medical plan, etc., but it's actually reimbursement. It's not
Mm.
an honest to goodness medical plan. Medyo bubuhatin ko lang ang bangko namin for a while.
Okay, go.
Ethica actually has a product where we have combined a variable life insurance policy with a full-blown medical plan.
Mm. Okay.
Where you go to a hospital, you show your card, and they'll give you medical services. And the payments to that hospital, number one, falls under negotiated rates because we have arrangements with hospitals, doctors, and clinics. Diba? And then the other one is it's cashless because the payments will simply be deducted from your account values. So we
Mm.
found a way. But remember, I said that prior to Ethica coming in, we were good at medical insurance. So what we did was actually combine both.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So we're going into that space. We're going to that space. So yeah, that's what I said. It's being creative with what you're offering. So more than insurances, etc. And another thing, earlier I mentioned Randall mismatch. This is one of the things I saw Kasi I asked some of our agents no, selling, well, sinong binibentahan mo? Sabi niya, sir, alam mo, tayo mga Pinoy, ganito tayo. Meron tayong uh, sandwich stage of life. Ano yung sandwich stage of life? Sandwich kasi, ito yung mga nasa people with starting families, right? Na uh, they have to take care of their family, their own family, and then to take care of their parents as well. So parang, pag nagkasakit si nanay, si tatay, out of pocket pa rin yun sa'yo. And at the same time, your children. So, sabi niya, sir, I sell these. I talk to people na ganon. Kasi I know na kapag nangailangan yung magulang nila, sa kanila rin pupunta, may pamilya sila. Diba? In fact, one of the agency leaders I spoke with mentioned this to me. This is how he presented the program. Sabi niya, you try to go to a hospital. You walk through the corridors. And in that corridor, you see family members outside of the room. All sad and all because the parent is in that room. What do you think are they talking about? They probably are talking about who's going to pay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah? Simply because they did not prepare. And the thing about that, I mean, so that's the market I think that these guys are trying to reach. And so far, it's not as big, but it's slowly moving in that direction. So I think they've been very successful with that concept. That's the match I think that I see we are fulfilling. It's not just investments; it's medical and all.
So your heavier push was more about protection, insurance, and stuff like that, and less about the
Ngayon, yes. Ngayon, yes, because that's the needed. But when the economy picks up, I think we still have to be in that space, no,
Okay.
of providing decent returns to clients. But for now, what we're seeing is that guaranteed returns, and then when the economy picks up, you have that guaranteed returns. You go to investments, but in both spaces, you have to input medical.
Okay.
You have to input.
Okay.
Kasi let's face it, kahit anong inipon mo, pag nagkasakit ka, pwedeng ma-wipe out lahat yan, right? Diba? So that's the idea there.
Okay. So aside from the medical benefits, what makes your Ethica products different or stand out from, there's still so many players out there, but what makes you stand out? I mean, among your products and your offerings?
One is, well, more than the product, it's the company itself.
Okay.
We're actually we have this unified campaign. So we're in the midst of developing programs where we can combine, since we're composite, we can combine several services, be it medical, even general insurance, etc., and life insurance rolled into one. So we're not at that stage. But currently, we're operating in, let me use this term, silos. We're trying to settle ourselves in that space. But you will see soon, unified products where it's really combinations already.
How do you think about distributing it from a digital perspective? Now that now it's different. Now that it's like from a 10-year perspective where many people are offering in the digital space. What's your plans for that?
Okay, good question. People are moving their money fast.
Yeah, too fast.
Too fast, diba? With e-wallets and all, etc. But I hate to be the bringer of bad news, Randall. But one of the things I'm seeing in the digital space is that the insurances that the people buy in the digital space, and I can understand that, are number one, travel. It's related to a lifestyle.
Yeah,
travel, and then I mean, us alone. One of our in the digital space, what's our leader? Gadget insurance. So they insure something that gives them pleasure. They insure their tool, but not their life.
Oh, okay. That's a problem, though.
Right, diba? So parang, and well, as practitioners in really providing for the future, etc. I think we're not yet there in that digital. I sabi ko nga dun sa kausap ko, do you think somebody will pay you 1 million pesos online?
Mm.
Never. You have to talk. So I guess
Yeah.
digital space uh addresses a specific need. It could be, basic protection plans. But it cannot cover everything.
Yeah.
It cannot cover everything.
And also from my observation, even those who get some form of life insurance, it's too small. That's what I see. No, it's too small. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
a
Eh kasi
thousand,
well,
1,000. It's
yeah,
not gonna cover anything, right?
oo, parang ano lang siya 'no, parang yeah, like travel insurance. It's really ano it's really kasi because of underwriting, right?
Mm.
'Di ba yung paisa natin sa Pilipinas, naku napakahindi ng underwriting. Well, I can understand that. Talagang ganun. So, kaya because of the risk that the insurer is about to take, it kinda limits it also in that digital
So,
space.
which means there's really a big need for intermediaries like bank assurance, advisors, and for us to really to
Correct.
so I think the industry from this perspective, no, I remember when I joined the industry in the 90s, we were thinking that in 20 years things will change, but it hasn't, no? So it hasn't. It's still, well, the digital space has, and in a way, improved it, brought awareness, pero it still needs people. I mean, siguro
Yeah,
close natin.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. Agree, agree, agree. Again, the digital space had helped the industry.
Mhm.
One, it did help, but I think we still need to do a lot in terms of,
Yeah,
what else can we do with that platform, you
yeah.
know. So
Where that's yeah, it's of course,
protection, it's really securing the future. I don't know.
yeah. They still need to talk to people, no? I think we're very far from a country like Singapore where there's awareness and all they do is to shop. We're
Correct,
far from that, no? All right.
correct,
Okay.
correct.
So Mars, as a guy behind, one of the guys behind Ethica, what's the future for Ethica? How do you envision things moving forward with now that we're now navigating the post-pandemic world and so forth and so on with all the economic challenges? So what's your plan for Ethica?
Okay. Uh, we are still poised for growth, and we will grow the business by ensuring that we have a heavier or better penetration ratios. Let me just share with you uh, what I mean by penetration. Yeah, the Philippines as a whole is very low, but
Mm-hmm.
in Malaysia, I was told that half of the bank clients have insurances. Half of
Mm.
the bank clients have insurances. Currently, we're not yet there, no. But uh, in terms of growth, diba? In terms of growth, we're looking at also, doing better than Malaysia. Kasi mas maliit na ano siya eh, mas maliit na base siya eh, diba? So we're actually looking at about 70-80% of clients owning an insurance policy from Ethica. So that alone is growth. But how are we going to do this? It's more of ensuring that there is a product match with the clients. And that means that we have to have the right types of financial advisors, etc., to be able to solve that market. What happens there because if there's no product match, ang nangyayari diyan, people start complaining in the
Mm.
future kung nagki-claim, "Di ba sa akin sinabi yan," etc.
Yeah.
So,
Or lapse their policies. That's the sad part, no? They will not
correct,
continue. Yeah. Oh.
correct, correct, correct. So we feel that we need to grow, but we need to grow with the right product match for the clients. More than simply selling, that has to be a product match. And the good thing about matching is at any stage in life of a person, it changes it. So there has to be a match product for that. And then, and one of the things also that we're seeing is we will grow the business by coming up with more ano ba to? Living benefit
Mm,
programs.
mm.
One of
Yeah.
that is medical. So that's
Yeah.
been our core competence, and we want to hammer on that and use that. You
Yeah.
know, uh, just to share, like cars. Di ba cars, meron kang taga-repair ng aircon, taga-repair ng ano ba, no? Siyempre, di ba, parang iba-ibang parts, electricals, etc. Si Ethicas, has a medical plan specific for dengue, a medical plan specific for pneumonia.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so So in other words, you try, kasi di ba, like sa atin sa industry, meron tayong critical illness, cancer, etc. But cancer lang ba? Pag tinignan mo, ang daming sakit ng tao. So we try to look into that. So and by coming up with these medical plans where again, underwriting sana, no, it's not going to be difficult, we'd be able to cover that.
Yeah, well, good. So looking forward to future developments for Ethica. So again, I'm interviewing Mr. Mars Dailo, no, Senior Vice President for Ethica, and really looking forward to the developments in this space. Ako personally, I don't think we have enough insurers.
Mm.
The market is still big, and looking forward. You can find out more information about Ethica on their website and their social media platforms. I'm gonna put links somewhere. And again, thank you so much for this wonderful conversation, Mr. Mars Dailo of Etiqa.
Thank you, Randall, and thank you to all the viewers. I'm looking forward to engaging everybody in future activities. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right.